Alright, we back on Sports Fan. Look, we're going to start off this a little bit differently today. Alright, I want to talk about baseball. I want to start off with A-Rod. That's right. I want to start off with Alex Rodriguez because I'm sure all of us are tired of hearing about Alex Rodriguez. And I want to put it like this. Media, ESPN, Fox, NBC, whatever sports affiliate, radio station, TV station, stop. You have just proven to all of us just how much of a parasite you really are. You gotta be fucking kidding me that just not too long ago, you were shaming A-Rod, alright? You were jumping all over A-Rod for everything that he's done. As we know, he has cheated the game multiple times, and finally he admits it. He was out all that time, and now he's back, okay? Steroid free, whatever free, okay? And then he starts hitting all these home runs. Now you want to start reporting it. All right? Oh, he's passed, Hank Aaron. He's passed Willie Mays. He's passed, not too long ago, Roberto Clemente. Let me tell you something about A-Rod, all right? He will never, and I mean ever, in my eyes, be respected. Not because of who he plays for, but the fact that he cheated the game multiple times. You are no Hank Aaron. You are no Roberto Clemente. You are no Willie Mays. All right, A-Rod? So for these media outlets to go on and try to put on this parade, oh, you should have seen this, it's a milestone in history. No, it's not. It's tainted. And I don't even know why you're covering it. Is it because it's is it slow news week? Is that it? You don't have nothing else to talk about? Or is the fact that you will take on anything when it comes to A-Rod related? Hell, the guy who caught his ball was on ESPN doing an interview. Yeah, the guy who caught the ball because he wouldn't give the ball back. Who cares? Who cares? See, this is what is disgusting to me. Because if you want to sit here and say there's integrity in the sport, or sports in general, and you hold yourself to a high standard when it comes to professionalism, you wouldn't even be covering this shit. And yet you still are. Yet you made it a fucking circus. That's what you made it. It's ridiculous. Like I said, sports outlets, and it's not just one of them, all of them that covered it should be ashamed of themselves. But speaking of more of people should be ashamed of themselves, the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah. How the hell do you have an outfielder come in and pitch for you? How do you do, you know what, this is not the days of Wilson Valdez, extra innings. No, you got destroyed. The Phillies look horrible. They are getting beat by large numbers all the damn time. All time. When they finally win a game, actually, it's cause for a celebration. They won yesterday 9-1. Guess what? That's not going to happen for a while again. All right, for a large deal. You have to understand, the Phillies are so broken down. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Ruben Amaro already said that the fan base here, we don't know baseball. Right then and there, he should have been going. Yeah, he actually said that. So it goes to show you, with the record low, because it's record low attendance at this point. When you have your GM saying things like that, and Ryan Sandberg has no idea what the fuck he's doing out there. I don't know why he's even still on, managing the team. I don't know why. He's too busy yelling at players in the dugout. He said that when they lost that large deficit not too long ago, he didn't get any sleep. That's a tough one to swallow. Really? Really? Did you see when you were losing by that large deficit? You had players, that's right, on the team, in the dugout. They're laughing. They're laughing. They're laughing, they're smiling, they're joking. Why? Because they're getting blown the fuck out all season so far, and guess what's happening? They're getting paid. They don't care. That's the problem. There's no fucking heart. And yet you want us, Phillies fans, to support that. No. I told you, we support hard work and heart. If you don't show it, we won't support it. And of course, since you're not showing it and we're not supporting it, then you got other fans come out and saying, y'all fair with the fan base, y'all supposed to be there regardless. No, that's not how it works. If they show some heart, if they show some hustle and still lose, yeah, we'll support it. I don't have a problem with that. Like I said before, it's not always about winning and losing. Sometimes you just want to go to the game with your family or your friends. You want to enjoy yourself, but you still want to see some type of, some hustle going on. But when these guys are bullshitting in the outfield, no fucking way. Cody Ashley, did you see not too long ago? Cody Ashley, pop fly ball, he's at the track. He's at track, all right? Easy catchable ball. What does he do? Sun wasn't in his eyes. Nothing. No. He just misplayed it. He didn't care. There's a reason they pushed him from third to the outfield, and he still can't get the damn job done. Look, I will put it like this, all right? Y'all have to understand, it's not about affair with a fan base, as it is we can tell when these teams not going to be competitive, because even if you're not competitive, like I said, we will still, as long as you try, we'll still support you. But these guys simply don't care. They don't. And if they don't care, then we don't care. That's how it works here in Philadelphia. All right? Now I want to move on to more problems with Philadelphia. The Philadelphia 76ers. Oh my God. Don't even get me. Oh my God. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't talk about the Sixers just yet, because I may just explode here on camera with those three things in a row. Let's talk about the NBA Finals. Okay? Let's talk about that first. All right? Then we'll segue into the Sixers due to the fact that we know the draft is coming up. We'll talk about that, okay? So, the NBA Finals is over. We know the Golden State Warriors won. And then, as we talked last week about fraud Cavs fans, here they come out of woodwork again. The game isn't even over. Game 6 wasn't even over yet. And Cavs fans are burning Cleveland Cavaliers apparel.
Wait, he's down my phone.
Burn that shit.
Ain't over with yet, though.
It ain't over yet, y'all tripping.
Ain't over with. I done burned the money, nigga. I done burned the money.
Burn that shit.
So with, baby. Hey, do it. Do it.
Over with, man.
They down by 4, bro.
Down by 4.
Down by 4, bro.
Cam, burning up shit, man.
I'm finna. That's what I did. That's what I did. Hey, Prince, put that goddamn fluid down, man. Somebody out here got on.
Hey, move that back a little bit.
Yeah. Let me get that little. What I said, poof. Let me get that right there for again, bro. No, man, give me the thing right there.
Go ahead and burn it.
Go ahead and burn him on down, baby.
Burn that bitch down. Burn it
Hey,
down.
don't burn it down.
I'm going down.
We ain't gonna do all the goddamn trade.
What happened, bro? That's what Chaz get, nigga.
Cavs fans, I told you that this would happen on your watch in the beginning of the season. You should know that the bandwagoners were going to pack up and just come to your town because LeBron was back. We know that. And as soon as y'all lose, here we go. Let's start burning things. Now, here's the other side of the story that you really don't hear about things, all right? Because Cleveland Cavaliers fans, all right, even though they lost, majority of them were cool. You know, they were just like, all right, it happens. You know what I mean? We got as far as we did, and that was it. There were no riots. There were no breaking things and destroying property. No, it wasn't any of that. So Cavs fans, majority of them were cool, but of course, these are the type of things that were highlighted on TV. These type of things that are highlighted on YouTube and on forums and everywhere else. So let me tell you something, Cavs fans. When you have fans like this, and I showed y'all during the season, when that guy, he held up that sign during the playoffs, all right, when y'all played the Bulls, and that sign, what did it say? It said, I'm a LeBron fan, that sign. What did I say to y'all on Twitter? Who let this guy in the stadium? Why haven't y'all done anything about it? Why haven't you questioned him about it? And of course, everyone was like, that was y'all's like. No one answered. Nobody answered it. That's what I'm talking about. See, there's a problem right now with your fan base. And like I said, I understand you're going to have random numbers and people, like, you have to understand. That has to be the dumbest, the most ignorant. And there's kids around, you can hear them in the background. So y'all just going to act the fool burning Cavs apparel because they look. All right, you know what? It gets worse, though. Because on top of the fact that Cavs fans are acting a fool, like I said, it's not all of them. It's not. But then you got Draymond Green, this diva. And I call him a diva because I've been calling him a diva since the finals. If you've seen the way he's played, if you've seen the way times he's flopped or react to calls, it's absolutely ridiculous, all right? But Draymond Green's already bad enough when he's sober, okay, and being a diva. But when he's drunk and he's partying because they won, listen to what he has to say about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah. Splash Brothers? Yeah. Cavaliers? Nope. We won? Yeah. They suck? Yeah. We here? Yeah. They not? Nope.
Thank you, Draymond.
Now, usually I'm for guys, drinking and getting drunk and partying because, let's be honest here, they won a championship. You don't know the next time you're going to have that experience or get that opportunity, so you live it up as much as possible, right? That's what you're supposed to do. That's what partying's all about. However, I will say this, all right? When you have to flop and act like a diva during those finals, and then you say that the team that you beat suck, the same team that blew the games they won blew you the fuck out, How many times did you have to come back from large deficits? Don't tell me that all of a sudden the Cleveland Cavaliers suck. No, I'm not trying to hear that, all right? Like I said in the last video, they weren't the underdog, all right? They were the favorite. So as far as I'm concerned, because I put it like this, Draymond Green, let's be honest here, man, all right? You didn't have that great of a series. There were a number of shots wide open, especially in the beginning of this series, that you had at the top of the key that you weren't even hitting. There were times where you were flopping. There was times where you were holding people for fouls, and then you would get all mad because you wouldn't get it, because you think that for some reason if you hook a guy, all right, that they should call that on them. No, that's not how it works. I understand that you play with your emotions on your sleeve. You're a very reactionary type person. I get that. Play with a lot of people like that, okay? But when after it's said and done, you want to sit here and say the Cavaliers suck? No. I'm not going to let you get away with that. I understand some friendly trash talking, but the way you perform, because there was a time, remember, was it Draymond Green, Barnes, they sat their asses down and brought in the second unit because they couldn't produce points. So if you want to talk about sucking, I think you really need to take a hard look at yourself. I really think you do. And for those who don't know, Las Vegas already has the Cleveland Cavaliers for next season winning the championship. That's right. So for anyone who says, oh, they suck, no, like I said before, Cavs fans, all the team's going to do is re-up and reload. That's what they're going to do. I'm not even going to talk about the Cavaliers right now because apparently there's a lot of drama going on with them. I personally don't give a shit, but it has to do something with LeBron apparently. I don't care. I don't care. We're going to move on to more basketball. Like I said, Philadelphia 76ers, we know that the draft is coming up. Philadelphia fans, we need to have a talk. We need to have a fucking real big fucking talk, all right? I'm going to talk about this right now. First off, just to let you know, D'Angelo Russell doesn't want to play for the Sixers. He's made it very well known that if he gets picked, he does not want to play. He didn't even work out for the team, okay? We've talked about this in the past, have we not? About how all of a sudden, a lot of these players don't want to play. I said before, nobody wants to play in Philadelphia because of the way the front office handles things. They don't want to. That's what it comes down to. Now, also, you saw last year with AK-47, for those who don't know what that is, Andre Karolinko, okay? Andre Karolinko comes out of nowhere, and because he's traded. And I told you shouldn't have traded your pieces for him. Wait, I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. That's loud as hell, but I don't know. More sirens. Doesn't matter where I'm at, right? More sirens. But I'll put it like this. Andre Karolinko comes out of nowhere and says, look, I'm not coming to Philadelphia, all right? Y'all gotta hear that. There's no way y'all can't hear that. Anyways, he says, I'm not coming to Philadelphia. And what happened? It took X amount, about a month and a half for the Philadelphia 76ers to say, we're cutting Andre Karolinko. And I said, actually, he cut you first. That's what he did. Andre Karolinko went overseas to play basketball rather than to play with the Philadelphia 76ers. We saw the same thing with the Clippers when they tried to move their player over, all right? Danny Granger tried to come over. I'm sorry, not the Clippers, the Pacers, because he went to the Clippers afterwards, all right? Danny Granger didn't want to come here, did he not? That's right. JaVale McGee tried to come here. They tried to bring him over here. He didn't want to come here. They bought him out too. Nobody wants to play for the Sixers. Now, here's the horrible part of all this, okay? Dario Saric. Now, for those who remember, this is the guy that we drafted last year that they said, oh, he's not going to play for a couple of years because he's over in Turkey, right? Because, you want to know why? Not because he needs, to groom and anything. No. Because their buyout of his contract would be too much. That's what it comes down to. Now, they tried to get him this year, but the buyout is too much. However, the way his contract is structured, let me say this now. The 17-18 season, all right, 2017-2018 season, so not this season coming up, next season coming up, right? He'll be able to do it. However, if you look at his contract, he actually has more incentive to stay in Turkey than he does to come to Philadelphia. Which means if he stays in Turkey and he comes comes to the Sixers afterwards, his contract is up. Do you know what that means? That means no longer is he a rookie. That means he will be bargaining on a free agent deal, which would then raise his contract if he gets contract. It would raise the price up even higher. That's what it means. So for everyone who's been sitting here and saying that, oh, this guy's going to be the future and the Sixers have him locked down, because you hear every talking head on the radio say this shit, okay? And the Sixers are doing a good job. No. Sam Hinkie is not only hurting the team by losing so much, but now in the long run, he's costing them even more money. You understand that? This is a bad plan. And then on top of it, we got the draft coming up, which no player wants to come here. So what do? Sixers fans, you have to start understanding that this is, it's a train wreck. You've gotten rid of a lot of pieces that you said were going to be the future, to replace them with other pieces that you'll say is the future. Just for later, for you to replace them to say is the future. And the thing is, you don't wait long. You wait a year or you wait 4 months. I don't understand this. There was talks of Joel Embiid being traded. There was talks of, Nerlens being traded. We will see what the draft holds. But don't hold your breath thinking that this is going to work in our favor. Because doing this type of stuff, you say it's crazy. You do the same thing over and over, and you expect better results, and it never happens. Never happens. It's ridiculous. It's almost like the Sixers are flopping when it comes to picks and decisions. It's the front office. That's what it is. You know what? Speaking of flops, I want to stop talking about Sixers right now. I do. Speaking of flops, let's get to the Griffin Force flop of the week. That's right. Now, for those who don't know what happened, I'm sure a lot of people have already seen on TV and sports stations and things of that nature. You've seen what's going on with the Copa America, right? That, the guy was suspended for 4 games. But the flop of the week, so pretty much he's out of Copa America. But the flop of the week still comes before the incident, the headbutt incident. That's right. For those who did not see it, I'm going to show it now. Tell me why this guy acted like he was jumping out of a building or like he was shot in the back. I want someone to tell me this, because as you can see, nobody is touching this dude.
Se llevan a Carlos Vaca, que tiene la camiseta completamente rota. Completamente rota. Completamente rota.
How do you even, you know what, let's just move on. Seriously, let's just move on. Let's move on to Bellator and their stupid fucking fans. That's right. Let's just talk about this right now, okay? As we know, Bellator Kimbo versus Shamrock, I'll talk about in a minute. I do want to talk about the card on Bellator on Friday night because Bobby Lashley is such a damn disappointment. And I say this because, as we know, he's a professional wrestler. We also know that he has an MMA record. We've seen him in the past lose and tap to strikes, okay? But as of late, he's been, putting on a lot, I would say, somewhat of a win streak. He's been going on. They've been feeding up. Bellator's been feeding him a bunch of suckers, as far as I'm concerned. All right, for him to get his wrestling up so that he can move up amongst the ranks. Because I'll put it like this: the way he fought on Friday was atrocious. It was horrible, and I say this due to the fact that not because he's a wrestler, but anybody who saw, the weigh-ins and the lead up to this fight, he was talking about he was going to stand the entire time with his opponent and throw. That's what he said. He was like, "I'm not going to wrestle. I'm not going to wrestle." Soon as they get out there. Seriously, the first move, soon as the refs fight, what's he do? Shoot for the leg, wrestle. Took the guy down so easily, the guy didn't have a chance. He didn't. I understand that Lashley is a wrestler, that's what he does, all right? But when you're sitting, and I understand it's all pre-fight hype, you're supposed to talk it up, but when you're saying, you're promising everyone that you're going to fight with this guy, you're going to throw at this guy, you're going to stand with him and throw, and you don't stand at all? Dude. What the hell? You're a one-dimensional wrestler. And I put it like this. The fact that that guy couldn't defend himself on the ground, you should have finished him off even earlier, all right? If that was the UFC, they destroyed you. They would have destroyed you. It's that simple, Bobby Lashley. You have a lot to learn when it comes to that. If you're going to stand and strike, do it. Don't promise the crowd and then don't deliver. Come on now. I understand, like I said, I understand that he's a wrestler. I get it. But you can't say things like that and then not do it at all. Now, I want to move on. We'll talk about Patricio Pitbull. That's right. Because this fight was probably, I don't want to say it was a boring fight. It wasn't, the first round he fought this guy. And this guy, I'll put it like this. This is where the tide really changed. Because near the end of the first round, Patricio gets caught. And he's almost done. All right? But the bell rings and McCarthy steps in. Mind you, Patricio has no idea where he's at because he's getting beat the hell up. He's getting hit with bombs, okay? He has no idea. So the bell rings, and at first you thought that because McCarthy stepped in, that this fight was done. Like he was saying, it's over, it's over. But no, he's like, no, the round's over. And the fighter, the fighter, he was just like, he's walking back and forth. He's like, the fight's over, right? I won because you stopped. Because he couldn't defend himself. Regardless if the bell was over or not, Patricio had no idea where he was at. He was done. So he's saying, hey, look, it's over. I win. But McCarthy's like, nope, go back to your corner. Go back over there. Go sit down. It's not over. second round starts, okay? Because the first round really wasn't much to talk about until near the end. That's where all the fireworks happen. Second round, I think you get about, 20 seconds into it? Pitbull catches the guy with a hook when they're exchanging, knocks the guy out. Everyone goes nuts, and everyone's like, this is the best comeback I've ever seen. Matter of fact, one of these dumbass fans on Twitter that they showed on screen said it was a fight of the year. You know, I really hate when people try to scream fight of the year instead of saying fight of the year contender. Or, understandably, that if you want to say something is fight of the year, you do realize that we're only in June, right? So it can't be fight of the year, especially when you have more things that are going to come prisoners in a moment. We see it way too much. And here's the thing. Because that fight ended so early, they had to bring out another fight that was unscheduled, for TV time to fill the time gap. And that fight had more action in it than Patricio Pitbull's fight did. Those guys were bleeding. They did everything they could to win. So, should that be fight of the year then too? I mean, seriously, should that be a contender? Because that was a hell of a lot more fast-paced, action-paced. You got everything you wanted in that time-filling fight than you did with Patricio Pitbull. I don't get it. So, but let's move on. Let's talk Shamrock versus Kimbo. Now, we talked about this before, and I had said last week with Shamrock and Kimbo, I said if Shamrock tries to stand with Kimbo, he's going to get his head knocked off. And I said if Shamrock goes for the leg, goes for submission with Kimbo, he'll win. What happened? When this fight started, Shamrock went right down, took him right down with ease. Kimbo had no idea what he was doing on his back at all. Now, here's the thing. Shamrock applies the rear naked choke. Kimbo doesn't even know how to defend a rear naked choke. He doesn't tuck his chin. He doesn't do anything. He just tries to take his arm and try to pull off. He tries to, okay? Anyone who saw this fight, let's say it lasted half a round, okay? So, mind you, going into this, Shamrock was at 204.5, okay? That's what he weighed in at. Kimbo was at 235. So this is a catchweight fight. I just want you to keep that in mind, okay? Because when Shamrock applies this hold, and then Shamrock, for some reason, the dumbest, and this is one of the best submission wrestlers in the world, one of the grandfathers of MMA, okay? He has this hold on. And then all of a sudden, he starts sliding somewhat to the side, so the hold's not completely in. Even though he had it deep, it was completely in. What does Shamrock do? He lets it go. Why are you letting go of this hold? You should know, Ken Shamrock, anybody, and we talked about this, anybody who has ever applied a submission, okay? You know, even if you don't have it on all the way or deep, you make the guy who is being submitted, you make him work for that. You make him burn his energy up trying to get out of that. That's what you do. You sit back and you relax while he burns up all his damn energy. Instead, you let Kimbo off the hook by letting go of that submission. And as soon as you let go of the submission, Kimbo turned. Which, weight distribution, if you know physics, he turned. Shamrock tried to get up faster than him and couldn't. By the time Shamrock got up, Kimbo was already up. Ken Shamrock tries to throw with him. And what happens? Kimbo knocks him the fuck out. That's what happens. Now look, you should know by now, Kimbo Slice is in the wrong sport. Clearly, he is not an MMA fighter. He's not. But one thing that he does have is devastating knockout power. You do not stand with the Kimbo Slice. You take him down and you make him your bitch on the ground. That's what you do. And Ken Shamrock had that fight won. It almost felt like both guys just wanted to give the crowd their specific technique. That's what they want to do. You know, what they're known for. Okay, I'll go to the ground, try to submit you. So the crowd can see this is what I do. Then Kimbo gets up and says, all right, I'm going to knock you out because this is what I do. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like an actual fight. It felt like Ken Shamrock, who had him beat. I don't care if you got to take that whole... Anybody who's ever done MMA or practiced MMA, you know. You work so hard to get that type of leverage, to get that position, to get that mount, everything. You work so hard that you apply it as long as possible. This is why when referees try to stand people up at times, fighters get pissed because they work so hard to get to that positioning. For Shamrock to let go of that rear naked choke, which was no reason to, it showed that he let him off the hook. And that's the thing, that's what beat Shamrock. Shamrock beat Shamrock. But you should know by now not to stand with Kimbo. Bottom line. Speaking of stand-up, let's talk about boxing, because I want to talk about this. For those who did not see Premier Boxing Champions, Adrian Broner versus Shawn Porter. Now, going into this fight, I knew that Shawn Porter was going to win this fight. Because anyone who's ever seen Shawn Porter fight, this guy will fight in a phone booth. This guy knocked out Paulie Malignaggi. I mean, if you see the style that he fights in, it's up close, it's personal. It's almost like, for those who saw Maidana versus Mayweather, it's sort of like that, but Shawn Porter has more power than Maidana. Shawn Porter is no joke. This guy, when he boxes, he lives to get up close on you and get dirty. That's what he does. So Adrian Broner, as we know, who is a finesse fighter, that doesn't really work out for him. That matchup is in Porter's favor. So the entire fight, Porter stalks. The entire fight stalks. Adrian Broner pretty much on his horse, going back and forth, running around the ring. It got to one point where Adrian Broner had his hands down and was just running around the ring. And Porter was just trying to cut off the ring. That's what it came down to. However, all right, Adrian Broner, what does he do? Lots of holding, lots of forearming. Yeah, he even hit him behind the back of the head once when they were on a spin-off. Now look, when you have that much activity going on, illegal activity going on, and slowing down the fight and because Adrian Broner can't take those type of punches, okay? He can't. He can't take that type of flurry. That's not what he's built for. There's a reason Maidana knocked him out, okay? Let's be honest here. But, let's be honest. Porter doing all these dirty deeds, he should have had a point taken away from him. I'm going to say the first 2 rounds, not Porter, I'm sorry, Broner. The first 2 rounds with the Broner. I'll give him that. That's the feel out. Then Porter started up the engine and that was it. And he didn't look back. And the entire time, Adrian Broner's holding, forearming, he's doing everything possible. Tony Weeks, let's talk about this referee. You cannot, and I say this, you cannot keep issuing warning after warning after warning, every round, warning after warning after warning, and you don't take a point. You know what that means? That means that your threats to the, I should say threats, but your warnings, because I'm going to take a point, to the boxer, it doesn't matter. He didn't take a point from Adrian Broner until the 11th round. What does it matter now? What does it matter? The fight was a landslide. All right, so Porter was going to win regardless. In the 12th, Broner got a nice flash knockdown. Left hook. Caught him. All right? Porter got like it was nothing to it. Yeah, because it's a flash knockdown, which means caught him by surprise, didn't hurt him. Wasn't phased, wasn't stunned, didn't cover up. No, Porter went right back to work like it was nothing to it. There ain't nothing to it. So everyone got all hyped because Adrian Broner knocked him down. Guess what? Good for you. You knocked him down. But you're still down by a landslide on points on the card. Because round after round after round, Porter beat the hell out of you. That's what it comes down to. It was a bad fight. It was a bad matchup. I won't say a bad fight, a bad matchup. A lot of people kept saying it was an ugly fight because, Broner kept holding. It goes to show you if you put pressure on finesse fighters, they can't do anything. They can't. They have to rely on their speed and technique. Broner should have relied a hell of a lot more on his speed, and he didn't. And that's the problem, okay? So, because, they call him the problem. But after the fight was very interesting. Because for those who saw, the post-fight interview with Adrian Broner, he was like, because both of them said, this was nothing personal. This was business. You know what I mean? They don't have any ill malice towards each other. And he was like, we could go to dinner. And Adrian Broner said the most ignorant thing I think I've heard in a while. Because for those who don't understand, I'll explain the history. So Adrian Broner says, hey, I'll take him out to dinner. I'll take his girl out to dinner too. Now, for those who don't understand that reference, this is what happened between Adrian Broner and Paulie Malignaggi when he took Paulie Malignaggi's girlfriend. All right, so that was the reference to it. All right, Adrian Broner just kept saying, yeah, I lost, but I'm still paid. I got money. My family's fed. Things of that nature. You know what I mean? So it goes to show you that this really isn't about integrity. This isn't about boxing. This is about money for him. You know what I mean? As it says on the back of his his attire, about billions. That's what he's about. He's young. He's flashy. He's cocky. A lot of people don't like him. So to see Shawn Porter get in there and do what he had to do, I'm sure a lot of people like that. However, like I said, a bad referee can hurt a fight. And those judges, I don't understand these judges. I don't get it. The judges had it right except one judge. He scored this 114 to 112. What the hell was that judge watching compared to the rest of us? Seriously, it was a landslide. It was. No way was Broner. There was no way that Broner could win or even come close to being that close to winning that fight. I don't know if that's just to create dramatic effect, but we see this too much in boxing. This is what hurts boxing. A lot of people like to say holding or running or whatever. That hurts boxing 90% of the time. No, bad judging and bad refereeing hurts boxing 90% of the time. It's sad to see. However, Adrian Broner deserved to lose. All right, and a lot of people are already writing him off already. You can't write him off yet. He's only has 2 losses. Only 2 losses. All right, and he's a showman, which means even if he boxes bad or not, because he can captivate the crowd, boxing and promoters are going to push him still. It's almost like wrestling. Yeah, because in wrestling, guys who can really wow the crowd, regardless if they can wrestle or not, they still get top billing. Adrian Broner would still get top billing because of the way he acts, not because of the way he fights. And that will always be a thing. An entertainment aspect will always be there. You can thank Prince Nassim Hamed for that. I'm just saying. Anyways, I'm done for today. I think I've talked enough. It really doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned. NBA draft coming up, I believe, is this week, right? We'll be on Twitter talking about it. And, of course, we'll be disappointed because you know how the Sixers are going to do. But anyways, we'll talk then. I'll talk to you later. Y'all be safe, man. I'm out.